our nature to make it cost less.
Look at that jig. Look at how awesome that presentation looks. That thing is pretty. In a second, I'm going to tell you what kind of jig this is, when to use it, and where you can get them. Hey guys, I'm Dan Meyer. Welcome back to Dominate Fishing, and today we're going to be talking about crappie jigs. We're going to be talking about size, color, shape, and just really the jigs that I like to use for crappie fishing. So we're going to start out here just talking about some crappie jigs that I like to use. And when it comes to crappie jigs, there's pretty much 3 style jigs that I like to use. And the key with crappie jigs to remember is, you can just keep it simple. You don't need any really special jigs to catch crappies. There is one exception with a pretty special jig that I like to use, and I'm going to show you that jig. It's kind of a secret weapon for certain types of crappie fishing. I'm going to show you that in a second. But just for starting out, the jig that I use 95% of the time is just your standard ball head jig. Looks like this. Just a standard jig. You can buy these things, pretty much everywhere at any bait shop. I was buying, these exact jigs for $5 for $1 just the other day at it wasn't even a bait shop. It was a gas station with a little section of it that was a bait shop. And the reason I like to use these jigs is they're cheap. When you're fishing crappies, a lot of times you're fishing in snags, you're fishing wood, you're fishing, heavy weeds, and you're fishing, light tackle. You also have
Where is it? Kind of inside of it. Right. Oh, that's close.
Boy, that smells great. I'm starving.
Yeah, tell me about it. Everything I've eaten lately has been garbage.
Hey, you going for the calf again?
Well, you know me. I'm a leg man. Hey, how about you, the neck?
No, I have a new favorite. There's this nice tender spot right behind the ear. Good stuff.
Oh, now.
A lot of the clothes you normally take to the cleaners aren't dirty. They just need a quick refresh. Try Febreze Clothing Quick Dry Mist. It eliminates odors and refreshes lightly worn clothing. Free happy Febreze. La 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 la.
I got the nipple right above us. Oh, it's right back there now. Get ready. Jump off the floor. It's right there. We're in it. Almost. That's right. Yeah. Oh, wow. Maybe I shut the window. What do you think? Here you go. Stay down. See you guys. Hang on. Right in front of us, Chris. Look. We're in it. Ears popping. Oh, low Chris. Standing right on. We're inside it right now. Look at this. Look around. Man, it's awesome. All right, it's right left. All right, we got to get out of here. We're good. Hey, we're looking the window now. I got it, Chris. Window's broken. Glass eyes, guys. I'm bleeding. Yeah, my eyes are bleeding. You all right, Chris? And that thing is still tearing in this video. We need some laxant, I think. Yeah, get out of here. I will. Here, let me get out. I got it. I got it. We gotta drop down, you guys. Hold on. Where is it? Wipers. Turn on your wipers. He's flashing us. It's right here. It's right there. How close? Real close. We need to drop down? No. We radiating on the side? To the side, but you're gonna have to turn around a little bit more. We got debris in there.
During Ron Rosenstein's testimony today, Republican senators were gushing, complimentary as they could be, of Rob Rosenstein, despite his role in Obamagate, Listen to them. Mr. Rosenstein, I know you dedicated almost your entire adult life to serving at the Department of Justice, and I know you love and revere that institution and the people that work there, and rightly so.
Thank you, Mr. Rosenstein, for your service.
You were complicit in the wrongdoing, which I don't believe was the case.
I've always found you be an honest man, and I don't think you were part of any conspiracy to get the president.
Well, my goodness, they were just taking up his time, weren't they? We'll find out what Tom Fitton thinks, the president of Judicial Watch, joining us now. Tom, that was a wonderful, warm moment in committee hearing history, wasn't it?
Yeah, you can tell those senators didn't consult with me before questioning Mr. Rosenstein. Look, he turned over the Justice Department to the president's political enemies to misuse against him and other innocents. He defended the indefensible today. We all know now that the Flynn investigation was corrupted, and it was corrupted during the Mueller operation. Yet he continued to defend the Mueller operation. And specifically, he was involved in the targeting of the president. I have a document, Judicial Watch uncovered. Actually, the Democrat asked him about it, didn't follow up on it. This is what Andrew McCabe wrote contemporaneously about a meeting he had with the Deputy Attorney General at the time, Mr. Rosenstein. As our conversation continued, the DAG, Mr. Rosenstein, proposed that he could potentially wear a recording device into the Oval Office to collect additional evidence of the president's true intentions. He said he thought it might be possible because he was not searched when he entered the White House. I told him that I would discuss the opportunity with my investigative team and get back to him. Does that sound to you like it didn't happen? Of course it happened. You had the Deputy Attorney General of the United States talking to Andrew McCabe, the top FBI official at the time, about wearing a wire and spying on the president in the Oval Office. The same documents, more documents we have from Rosenstein's own email show that conversation about the 25th Amendment took place. And of course, all part of that discussion was appointing Mueller. So the coup was about three things: wearing a wire, invoking the 25th, and appointing a special counsel. And the special counsel was appointed, that's for sure.
Well, Robert Rosenstein is such a nice fellow. And he has
Very personable. I met him once or twice.
No, I'm just saying. And I want you to hear what he had to say about the FBI and the Department of Justice.
Our law enforcement agencies are filled with men and women who act with integrity. It would have been preferable, Senator, to have a more politically diverse group, but if they followed the rules, their political ideology wouldn't matter. I'm fairly confident that the political bias did not enter into that investigation.
So there you are. Nothing there, according to Rod Rosenstein. No wonder everybody's gushing over him. Your thoughts?
The IG wasn't confident, Lou. I mean, he suggested that Strzok's decision-making to stifle the investigation into the Wiener laptop and the emails while targeting Trump was political. He couldn't rule it out. And of course, they caught Strzok and Page with these political texts, and they were secretly removed from the Mueller operation, and that was held back from Congress for 4 months. Rosenstein says that, they were monitoring Mueller and they knew everything he was up to. Then who's responsible for it if not him? You can't have your cake and eat it too. And I appreciate the Senate's finally getting at least someone to testify. But my question is, why hasn't Mr. Rosenstein testified before a grand jury? I don't know as a target, but certainly as a witness. My gosh. And then he signed on to this FISA warrant that was withdrawn by the Justice Department as being invalid. He was utterly responsible for everything that went on, and he had no excuse. When you look at that FISA warrant, you can see it was junk. They were targeting President Trump, and he just rubber stamped it. And given the other discussions he was having
today,
and he basically, given the other discussions he was having, Lou, as documented with McCabe and company, you can see why he didn't care one whit about whether the president was being spied on by these crazies in the FBI, Strzok, Page, and McCabe. What a nightmare at the Justice Department. What a nightmare. Comey at least at that point was
include Comey in that room.
Yeah, and Comey leaked material in order to get Rosenstein to hire Mueller or to hire a special counsel general. So you've got this criminal activity by the outgoing FBI director. Rosenstein's response is to, let's investigate Trump.
Well,
Don't tell me he wasn't anti-Trump. It certainly sounds like it.
You won't hear that from me, Tom, I assure you. And I was expecting today to see that Hillary Clinton was testifying under oath to one of your attorneys at Judicial Watch. What happened?
No, she wasn't testifying. She was appealing, having to testify under oath. So our attorney, Ramona Kutka, was in court yesterday arguing against Hillary Clinton's lawyer. There were 3 judges hearing the case. One of the judges was very aggressive in questioning our lawyer, but we held her ground. The Justice Department also made an appearance, Lou. You know what the Justice Department said to the court yesterday? We're just trying to get through it. We just want to put it behind us.
Is that not amazing? Do you remember when President
Justice Department on behalf of the State Department?
I can remember vividly when President Trump sometimes looked chagrined when at rallies in 2016. There were chants at his rallies occasionally lock her up, but never he mentioned her name. And he always looked, as I said, chagrined. And I think he came into office thinking that he could be friends with the loyal opposition. And I have to say, any president should understand clearly what the Democratic Party has become. One would think it would be Mr. Trump. What do you expect to happen now in the Clinton case?
Well, the court's going to decide whether or not to carve out an exception to the rule of law again.